and delegates gathered to explore opportunities for economic growth and advancement. Blessing Obey brings us details.
The Ondo State Investment Summit 2026, themed The New Ondo, Forging the Pathway to Prosperity, featured series of exhibitions across agriculture, technology, fashion, and other locally made products. Entrepreneurs leveraged the platform to display homegrown products sourced and processed in the state. The summit focused on investment opportunities across critical sectors in agriculture, infrastructure, natural resources, highlighting them as key drivers of development. With hundreds of delegates in attendance, discussions focused on harnessing Ondo State human capital, natural endowments to attract investors.
Ondo State has what I would call virgin tourist opportunities that are yet to be explored. Now we'll have our coastal line opportunities that is very raw, waiting to be tapped. So with these investors coming around with the MOUs being signed, there's going to be a lot of shooting up from those states to the world.
Ondo State is missing the opportunity, so it's a state, it's an oil producing state, and a state that is lucky with the type of government it has. So opportunities are all over the place. Investment in real estate, investment oil production, investment in small scale industries. These are what drives economy, like the Asian tigers. Ondo State is a destination for good investment.
Investors and partners identified manufacturing, agro-processing, technology, among others, as priority sectors with strong returns on investment. They urged the state government to improve road infrastructure in rural areas to encourage investor participation.
It's because it's peaceful and it has this gentle energy. That's what the state represents. And in that peace and stability, that is the foundation on which credible investments thrive. The theme of this topic for me is the state of tomorrow. It reflects the terrible shift. It reflects a shift from dependence to productivity, from government doing everything to government-enabled enterprise, from protection to performance.
If you look at our investments in Ondo State, you will see that we have demonstrated that industrialization is viable in Ondo State. Now imagine multiple processing and manufacturing clusters if you bring your money here. Maybe we need to start blowing our trumpets in Ondo State.
We must move beyond building just homes. We must build ecosystems that will guarantee that developers can come together and collaborate with the government, not as individuals, but as members of bodies like REDEM. Now, Ondo State can enact XYZ hectares of land and create the infrastructure needed for them to go there and start developing homes.
Ondo State government says the investment summit will be held annually to review progress and showcase achievements. Blessing Obey, Osrc News.
President Bola Tinubu has accepted the resignation of the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, and approved the appointment of Tunji Diso as Acting Inspector General of Police with immediate effect. In a statement by his Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, the President received the resignation letter earlier yesterday and expressed appreciation for his service to the nation. He also commended Egbetokun's decades of distinguished service to the Nigerian Police Force and the nation, acknowledging his dedication, professionalism, and commitment to strengthening internal security architecture during his tenure. It added that in compliance with the provisions of the Police Act 2020, the President will soon convene a meeting of the Nigeria Police Council to formally consider Diso's appointment as substantive Inspector General of Police, after which his name will be forwarded to the Senate for confirmation. The President reaffirmed his commitment to enhancing national security, strengthening institutional capacity, and ensuring that the Nigerian Police Force remains professional, accountable, and fully equipped to discharge its constitutional responsibilities. And the federal government has rejected reports claiming it paid a huge ransom, including the release of militant commanders to secure the release of school children abducted from St. Mary's Boarding School in the Niger State. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, described the allegations as completely false and baseless and a disservice to the professionalism and integrity of Nigeria's security forces. The rebuttal followed a report which cited at least 3 intelligence sources alleging that the government paid a huge ransom, with figures varying between 2 billion naira overall and up to 40 billion naira per head. Idris said that the successful rescue of the pupils, carried out without casualties, was a result of professional intelligence and operational precision. Still ahead, Bayelsa State gets new deputy governor, this and more. Welcome back. You can watch us live on our digital channel, Moreplex 720, and on our website, www.osrc.ng, or follow us on Facebook at OSRC TV, and on YouTube, you can subscribe to our channel, OSRC TV Ondo. Women from Ilaje local government area have commended the present administration in Ondo State for keying into the World Bank-supported Nigeria for Women Program Scale-Up project, describing it as a timely intervention that will improve their socio-economic well-being. This came to the fore during a sensitization program on the project at Igbokoda, Ilaje local government area, where market women, traders, and other relevant stakeholders were present. Omoyola Wiji has details.
The World Bank-supported program tagged Nigeria for Women Program Scale-Up Project is designed to enhance women's socio-economic stability and strengthen livelihoods across participating communities. The program is open to all women aged 18 years and above who have means of livelihood, such as traders, artisans, among others. In Ondo State, the project is commencing in 3 local government areas across the senatorial districts of the state in the first instance. Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Dr. Shim Osamaye, charged beneficiaries to embrace the program and make judicious use of the opportunities provided. According to her, the initiative is in line with our EASE agenda of Ondo State Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa to ensure that every woman is self-sufficient so as to contribute meaningfully to households and community development. While appreciating the effort of Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa, the commissioner emphasized that active participation, commitment, and accountability are key to ensuring the sustainability and success of the project.
This program is a World Bank assisted project, and it is to ensure that 30,000 women in rural areas and urban areas of Ilaje development, especially in all the communities in Ilaje, are empowered. So we are here today to have a stakeholders meeting, traditional leaders, local government leaders, women leaders, leaders of different women groups, to brief them about what this program is all about. And now to ensure that their women get involved. It has to do with all women of the local government in all the communities without political affiliation.
State Project Coordinator Dr. Jumoke Bakare also urged the women to take ownership of the initiative, assuring them of continued support and effective monitoring to achieve the desired outcomes. Expressing appreciation of the gesture, wife of Fulajoluku Government Chairman, traditional rulers, among others, commended the Aidatwas administration, describing the initiative as a robust development to ensure the well-being of the women. They pledged their continued support, noting that the project reflects a strong commitment to grassroots development. Omoyola Mbiji, Osrc News.
To Bayelsa State, where the House of Assembly has approved the appointment of Peter Akpe as the Deputy Governor of the state. The Assembly gave the approval during plenary. The appointment followed the death of erstwhile Deputy Governor Lawrence Erujapo, who slumped and died in December 2025. Akpe served as Chief of Staff to Governor Doye Diri prior to his nomination. And the Central Bank of Nigeria has cut the interest rate by 50 basis points to 26.50% from 27%. Nigeria's Apex Bank announced this during its 304th Monetary Policy Committee meeting held in Abuja. The CBN Governor, Olayemi Cardoso, said all members of the MPC unanimously agreed upon the decision.
Headline inflation year on year eased to 15.10% in January 2026 from 15.15% in December 2025, reflecting a moderation across both the food and core components. Food inflation declined markedly to 8.89% from 10.84% over the same period, supported by improved domestic food supply, sustained exchange rate stability, and favorable base effect. MPC of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, held its 304th meeting on February 23rd and 24th, 2026. The committee reviewed key developments in the global and domestic economies, as well as the outlook. 11 members of the committee were in attendance. Decisions of the MPC. The committee decided as follows. 1. Reduce the monetary policy rate by 50 basis points to 26.5%. 2. Retain the standing facilities corridor around the MPR at plus 50 to minus 450 basis points. 3. Retain the cash reserve requirement CRR for deposit money banks at 45%, merchant banks at 16%, and 75% for non-TSA public sector deposits. The outlook indicates that the current momentum of domestic disinflation will continue in the near term. This is
the CBN Governor Olayemi Kaduso at the 304th Monetary Policy Committee meeting held in Abuja. And security agencies have traced 835 million naira in alleged co-funding to entities linked to former Bayelsa State Governor Timipre Silva. This is according to investigators probing a purported plot to overthrow President Bola Tinubu. Officials alleged that the bulk of the funds flowed through Purple Waves Limited, a firm registered for construction and maintenance services in 2009. Although company records at the Corporate Affairs Commission do not list Silva as a director or shareholder, investigators believe the entity served as a financial conduit for the individual. Silva, who previously served as Minister of State for Petroleum Resources under former President Muhammadu Buhari, has denied any involvement in co-related activities. The United States Congress has called for a sweeping bilateral agreement between Washington and Abuja aimed at protecting vulnerable Christian communities, eliminating jihadist terror networks, and countering Chinese and Russian influence in Nigeria. The recommendations were contained in a joint decision by the House Appropriations Committee and the House Foreign Affairs Committee, which was posted on X by Congressman Riley Moore. The Congress recommended that under the proposed agreement, Nigeria would commit to co-funding donor-supported humanitarian assistance, including through faith-based organizations, with priority for internally displaced persons in a predominantly Christian Middle Belt. The European Union and the Federal Republic of Nigeria have formally opened negotiations for a bilateral science and technology cooperation agreement. This marks a major step towards strengthening research, collaboration, accelerating innovation, and deepening strategic cooperation under the EU's Global Gateway Strategy. The inception meeting held at Nigeria's Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, Abuja, signals a decisive move to build a stronger innovation ecosystem. The proposed agreement aims to provide a long-term political and legal framework to assess past cooperation, strengthen institutional partnerships, and jointly define future actions. And on the foreign scene, a massive snowstorm has battered the northeastern United States, leaving hundreds of thousands without power and forcing millions to remain indoors. Several states have declared emergencies, with New York and New Jersey imposing travel bans as snow fell at rates of up to 7 centimeters per hour. More than 5,000 flights have been cancelled, while authorities warn of dangerous refreezing and hazardous conditions on roadways and coastal areas. Inaga Akiri tells more.
The city that never sleeps under a blanket of snow. Millions of New York City residents, as well as the entire state of New Jersey, started the day under a travel ban and state of emergency. The harsh conditions not expected, but challenges nonetheless.
It's hard work. I've already done it several times already. This winter, it's giving me a bit of a pain.
It's real. They said what it was going to be, and it's everything they said it was going to be.
Only essential workers were allowed on roadways as the storm played out, and one was as essential as those attempting to keep streets and walkways clear. Falling. At times, the snow was falling at a rate of 5 to 7 cm an hour. By afternoon, New York's mayor said the worst of the storm was over, but considerable challenges remained.
These are dangerous conditions. Not only is snow continuing to fall, accumulated snowfall and refreezing have made it hazardous to travel. If you can, remain indoors. If you must leave your home, please rely on public transit.
The storm continues to make it areas like Long Island and Massachusetts. All told, more than 5,000 flights in and out of the United States were cancelled and more than 500,000 homes and businesses put out power. But not everyone was complaining about the snow, even as the cleaning up and digging out continues. In Aga, Hakiri, Osrc News.
And with that report, we end the Osrc News. But before we go, another look at the major stories. Stakeholders and delegates are pushed for the use of Ondo's natural resources for the overall development of the state. The move came to the fore at the State Investment Summit, where Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa signed Memorandum of Understanding for a deep-sea and petrochemical plant. President Bola Tinubu has appointed Tunji Diso as Acting Inspector General of Police after accepting the resignation of former Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun. And we told you that the Bayelsa State Government has got a new Deputy Governor. He is the former Chief of Staff, Peter Akpe. His emergence is sequel to the death of the former occupier of the office. And that's the news. Thank you so much for watching. Good evening.